Okay, a little bit about dimensional analysis. We're going to use this information here in the worksheet to help us to figure out how to convert from one measurement to another. Here's a little helpful hint. We're going to try to keep, what you want. That's kind of what you put on the top, and what you've got, you put on the bottom. And we'll talk about that. Basically you put what you want opposite from the things that you're trying to get rid of. And we'll talk about that and we'll go over that as we go through a few different problems here. So we'll look at the first one. 5,400 inches to miles. Now up here they tell us that we can go from miles to feet. We can go from feet to yards and things like that. So we do have some information. We have inches to centimeters, although I don't think we're going to need that one at all. So let's start working here. I have this written down. We have 5,400 inches per 1. And everything's always over 1. Now remember, we're trying to get this into miles. So think about this here. We're going to multiply basically by 1. If I do 10 times 1, I get 10. So multiplying by 1 doesn't really change the number at all, or dividing by 1 doesn't change the number at all. So that's why I put divided by 1, just to set it up like a fraction. Okay. So I'm going to put another fraction line here. Now, we want to get rid of these inches because we want our final answer to be in miles. So I want to put inches down here, okay? Because I want to eventually get rid of these inches, and I'm going to multiply by 1. So think about, well, if I have inches, think of something you know. Okay, well, we have 1 foot is 12 inches. So this is going to help us to convert into feet, because now the inches, think about when we simplify before we multiply, right? We look diagonally. So we can actually cancel our inches. Now the only unit we have is feet. But again, remember, we want miles. So we're going to go ahead and multiply again. Now what I have is on the top, so I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to put feet on the bottom, and what I want is miles. So I think at this point we can go directly to miles, because if I look at my chart, it says 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So I can go straight from feet to miles. So 1 mile is 5,280 feet. Okay, and then this will allow us to get rid of the feet. Okay, these 2 feet right here will cancel. And what unit am I left with? Well, I'm left with only just my miles right there. So at this point, all I have to do is multiply 5,400 times 1 times 1. Well, that's 5,400, okay, and that'll be miles. And right now, we have 1 times 12 times 5,280. So I'm going to get my calculator out. So we have 12 times 5,280, and then of course we have times 1 also, but that won't do much. So we have 63,360. 63,360. So we're going to go ahead and divide those. So I'm going to take my 5,400 divided by 63,360. And, that's not a real nice number, but again, remember, we're converting from inches to miles. So, unless you have a lot of inches, it's probably not going to work out that well. So this is, I'm going to round this to 0.09, because this 5 will make the 8 go up. So 0.09 miles. Okay, so again, just to recap what we did here, we started with inches, and we wanted to get rid of the inches, so we put 12 inches on the bottom and 1 foot on the top. Again, we're multiplying by 1 because 1 foot is 12 inches. They are the same, so that's multiplying by 1. And then that allowed us to get rid of the inches. Now we have to get rid of this feet here, and we had a conversion on our worksheet. 1 mile equals 5,280 feet. So we put feet on the bottom so we could get rid of the feet. 5,280, 1 mile on top. And that left us with just miles for our unit. We multiplied it out and then we divided to get our 0.09. We rounded to the nearest hundredth miles. Okay? So I know this is something new, something a little tricky here. Just remember back to when we simplified our fractions before we multiplied them, and it helps us kind of look diagonally and understand why we're getting rid of those units.